Oh, live audience, as well as those later. The channels are going up as my little thing shows me. And it looks like I'm live on 3 different platforms. So, good evening, y'all. I'll just show you really quick. We're live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And I believe I have everything set up so that I can see the comments and chat from each. And we're here getting into Stream of Things just briefly this evening as wanting to do a bit of life update meets some topics that I have picked out to get into. So, here we go. Hello, those on the internet who might be tuning in on one of my pages. This is a community-driven stream, and community-driven is about communal impact, positive impact, and building up something that can do good in that area. Where did my nice little jams go? I meant to have those on as I turned everything on. Good vibes. So, yes, if anyone's been tracking, been getting more into videos and streaming. And so, this has been on my, as I went from things last month being very busy with events and Earth Day stuff, planning going into May, I want to do a lot more streaming, fundraising, and stepping into this next phase of my business, social enterprise as you might have it. And that was a plan. My month is open and still pretty open, but what ended up happening, so we're a little bit behind, is I got pretty sick last week, starting with a Monday. Monday had flu and was kind of just like body drained, fever, hard to focus, hard to do much. And then I was like, let me turn through this. I'll feel better soon enough. The last few times I felt sick like that have been pretty quick recoveries. And then like Wednesday, Thursday, I think I got hit with a cold, because then my like sinuses and yeah, I don't know how else to describe it besides like sinuses and cold. I would say I got sicker before like end of Thursday, but really like Friday even starting to feel better. And I had work some of those days too, and other things that I was present with and helping out with, where I feel like I wasn't getting 100% rest either. So I was going to this weekend still feeling like slightly bad, and now we're here on Tuesday even, and I feel like I'm through most of it, but I can still feel it in certain areas, and it's a super bummer because like I was starting to start workout routine, super excited for what I was like getting going, all types of content, scripted out, planned, and it's hard to then like feel in your energy and able to put things on when you get sick. So tonight is me working to test out some of these things so that I can go into this week, and as I get better, start to play catch up and focusing on some of those projects that were most important to me and getting them going and out there on my channels. This song's a jam. We're just gonna jam with this for a hot minute. We're just playing free copyright music. and we're here in the cool, fun stream studio. Like my lips are super dry. Oh yes, all the ups and downs lately of existence, it seems. But we're at it. We're going for it. We're getting more into what we can make and what we can do. And so I made this little overlay, and it allows me to screen share and also show my different pages. I want to add some of my other pages to this goals list, but we'll get to that eventually. I need to update this somehow. I don't know if it'd be easy to get a live ticker. Maybe I just gotta do like a update this maybe like once a week or at like the end of streams. But yeah, question of the week: what big summer events have you excited? And I mean, I did the life update, the trying to make this like business enterprise thing work as a full-time endeavor is the goal, and not only for myself but build out a foundation to do more. And so I think as this channel grows, as our website and web presence grows, our blog and some of our other pages, our Patreon is not actually live. I need to take that down. That was something I was trying out in February. But other pages, like this communities index, and what was I trying to get to? This positive impact directory or database. Oh, and working to fundraise. So these are all in the early swing of things. I've been giving it a go since around February to figure out a business model that works and just like build up the content creation muscle and process. A big thing that able to invest in it thanks to credit was a computer that I can do this on, which has only been something I've had for about, I probably had it for about 3 weeks. I got it the last week of April, and have been really enjoying what I'm able to do content-wise and editing-wise. So some of their goals are to build out some of these spaces on the internet more robustly and get that content funnel out there. And we can even see that we're live. Can I tune in? We can even see that we're live. I'm not very loud. Is that something I can fix? I'm not very loud. Okay, I think it's just my volume's low. I can fix? I'm not very loud. Okay, I think it's just my volume's low. And then does this let me just jump into the back end? Get it with the jam, get it with the jam. Over here, streaming with a little bit of a plan. Yeah, show who is a man. Get it, become a fan. Hit that like and subscribe. That's the plan. Yeah. I didn't pre-screen any of this music, so I'm happy I have musical entertainment that I can play that's fun. Okay, so I can look at my back end. I don't really think I need to do that because I have my chat and I have it in a few other spots. Okay. So, let me turn this down a little bit for myself. It's gonna be a little distracting. And we're gonna hop into what I want to get to tonight. It's gonna be a really short stream, I think. It's already 10:30. Add on, I have to be up and doing stuff by like 10:30. So, and I like to have chill mornings. So we're gonna look at an article. We're going to look at my website just a little bit I already kind of shared some of the changes I want to make, but I just want to get some of those in stone. And then I was going to try to plug in my MIDI device. I don't know if we'll get to that tonight. And then there's a few other tabs I want to share. So here we're all about positive impact. We're mostly in the Colorado area and space. And working in that kind of activism space for a handful of years now, learning how important it is to kind of have a group working to bring groups and news together. I think newspapers do the news part already, but by creating a brand that does that, we can have aspects of content creation lean on and work with groups in this space and to try to build out what we can do collectively. And that's what community driven is all about in envisioning. So some of the articles we're going to jump into tonight are around that and what I've been up to lately. So here's the website, communitydrivengroup.com or communitydriven.group gets you there. And then you can poke around, see some of the communities I have in our directory index space in the Denver, Colorado area. Plans to expand, but that's where we're based out of right now. So, what are some of the things I want to share tonight? I saw this earlier and how Denver has been getting higher levels of migration lately. And one of those things where some states push some of their immigrant populations to other states to deal with, and we're in a situation where those communities need help. And so I thought it was important to this denvergov.org community assistance programs migrant support, so migrant support in Denver. So if you have time, donations, money, these are people who often fleeing poor circumstances, dangerous circumstances, looking for a better life, trying to figure out the system, trying to figure out the path. I know there's a lot of struggle going on right now, so no blame or shame if you have nothing to give right now. But if you do have something a little extra, consider giving to these communities, even hygiene products, diapers, toothbrush, deodorant, soap, underwear, clothes. Newcomers Fund is currently accepting monetary donations from the general public, and I just wanted to share that off. And they're doing some coordinated drop-offs to have, and this is something I could probably even add and consider what I can get my network of people to give, and look at how I can work to show it for these communities more, because I might not have the resource side of things, but potentially with time and my ability to get out the message, that can help. So there's just one thing to consider and put out there, and that I got in my email, I want to say today, maybe it was Facebook, but I saw this, that they were asking for additional support, that certain of the take-in areas we're seeing more people come through than in the past. So there we go. I'm sure this website is a huge plethora of, like, let's see what other assistance programs there are. Childcare assistance, shelter, abuse and neglect, financial and jobs, cash assistance, emergency assistance. So one of those things that if you're more on the side of things where you're struggling more, consider looking through what government programs might be in areas near you, because some cities and spaces that might be doing a little bit better off. Denver's a pretty prosperous city. There might be something on this side that can help you if you're looking for a job, a change, assistance. I'm sure there's data, and data isn't necessarily like I enjoy getting into it when I'm in like a certain mood and working on something, but I'm not like great at finding it. I think that's part of where it takes like a certain skill to like know what to search for, to because where my mind was going was like, I've heard a lot of stories of people on tough times right now, and I see it everywhere from social media to conversations to just having like with friends and out there day to day with strangers talking about things. And I'm just curious what the data shows, because the working class and in that realm, the 90-something% have such a small amount of the pie, and the past few years have been hard and tough, and with inflation, I know that the struggles. I'm curious what data out there helps support that and shares how bad it is, or like where are things looking, like what does our current situation look like. I'm someone who's pretty optimistic and hopeful, and part of me wanting to create this show and work on this is being able to design and push forward policy changes that help us and like the general public. How do we create a more just, fair, like society where people aren't struggling as hard? And I think through having conversations, creating content, bringing people together, and then having those dialogues on certain topics is how we get there. For now, though, my always worry is like how many people fall through the cracks in the meantime. So it's nice to see that cities like Denver, I'm sure other cities have programs like this. There's state and federal programs. I know that like they're probably a whole process and not always reaching people, and people still fall through these cracks. But it's something, I guess. So I guess sharing that is interesting, and maybe in the future we can go through some of these programs to see what's going well and where the gaps are. And I eventually want to get to a point too where interviewing and talking to people who are experts in these areas in covering these topics, so that we can get down into like the truths and what needs to be done quicker. The next thing I wanted to look at was an article. So this is a Colorado Sun. It's a paper. Do they have any? They have a pretty wide-ranging amount of topics. Journalist-owned, award-winning news outlet. Cover all Colorado so that our state, our community can better understand itself. Awesome. I've read your articles before, and I'm interested to jump into this one, which is an opinion column by Tris Zornio, who I've met actually a few years ago when she was running for state senator to be like a federal senator, and so it was a robust primary with like 10 plus candidates, and she was one in there. And she's now transitioned into her political like process is doing these opinion columns. And this one, we're gonna look at with no music, just so that we're gonna get a fair reading without me going like taking any of the energy from the music itself. So this is a Colorado Sun piece by Trish Zornio titled "Colorado Democrats Are Losing Millennials Like Me." I'm also millennial, so we'll see where she goes with this. Even if we have nowhere to go. Okay. Millennials are a large Democrat in America, yet our general needs aren't being met. When is it our turn? I mean, when we claim our power, I guess in some places are like gerrymandered, and so it's hard to, for those certain demographics to then claim power, but technically the plate, the pen, the power can be in our hands if we rally and organize allies and push for it. So let's see where she goes with this. It's no secret that Colorado Democrats did not have the best legislative session. It is no secret. What is my understanding of this year's Colorado legislative session? I went to 4 lobby days. Most of them were put on by environmental groups. I tracked the legislation varying amounts this year. It was hard during certain months, easier during others. It's about a 4-month-long policy session, and I went and testified on 2 bills. Maybe it was just 1. No, it was 2. It was 1 virtual and 1 in person, and then I went to take pictures one day and talk to some people. And then the 4 lobby days. The lobby days were more in the beginning to middle of the session, and there was less conversations on how things were closing out. Near the end, there was some Democratic back and forth around some housing policies, some housing taxes, policies. There was some filibustering-esque attempts by the Republicans where they use a strategy where they make people read the full length of the bill in front at the pulpit. So that time, so there's only a certain amount of days of the session. So by having time people reading each word of a bill, even on some bills that are 10, 20, 30 pages long, it drags out the time. Some of they're meeting to like midnight some days to try to push things forward. I didn't hear about too many committee like committees are where bills go before they go to the general House or Senate. And so a committee of about 9 to 12 people get to determine if any amendments are made, and then if it gets passed, to be pushed forward. And there's a time to do amendments later as well. So the committees have a lot of power. I didn't hear about too many bills going and dying unfairly, but I heard a lot of bills that got amended to not be as strong or as progressive. And then at the end, I'm going way into detail about Colorado politics. I guess it's a good exercise and showcase of, before we get into an article, how does my tracking of things go? Um, and then near the end of the session, the last week or 2 weeks, the governor came through with a number of bills and priorities, and there were a number of bills that got introduced so that the general public can know about them and then go to committee within like a day. And so it was hard to rally, to read and then discuss a response and then rally the like environmental community if it's actually truly yes or against. And so the governor's able to use his voice and talk to his stakeholders to present things in a way where SAES has gone through the process and SAES has a coalition behind it, but when things are moving that quickly and not near the end, is it really going through the full process? So, overall conclusion, there was, I want to say, a lot of good and a handful of bad. Um, there was a lot of first time politicians as well as expert politicians working together on a number of bills, and at least from what I checked on the environmental bill side, there were some good things passed. It's not as strong as I would have liked, but compared to me tracking bills going back 5, 6 years when I started getting involved in learning about the Colorado legislature, I've seen like bills and hopes go to die that I feel this year. That the fact that I saw a number of like very positive bills get passed is a good sign that we're moving in a positive direction. And then it's just about how do we bring people together so that we're more prepared and able to hit the ground running from the beginning so that we don't get stopped as much in the process, that able to be organized together so that when some of these amendments and like government like esque tricks and like last minute pushes come up, that have that coalition that's able to respond. And working over these next 6 months with these politicians and these connections made and this session behind us on what we can really do this next year. So, or next year. So that's my Colorado Ledge breakdown. Is it the best? No, but it's above average, okay, good. And I feel like for most people not in the know, it is a secret. It's no secret only to super nerdy people like me in the know who track these things. That's not. So for most people, it is a secret, actually. I'm curious what headlines you all might be hearing out there. Okay, so we'll get past the first sentence in this article. Okay. For months, Colorado, the state majority party took to battling not only across the aisle, but within itself. That happens. The infighting wasn't pretty. Sure. Forget attacks behind closed doors. That's politics of the past. The session debacles, it happened in plain sight and in no uncertain terms. Now the session has closed, some Democrats are attempting damage control. Such efforts are fruitless. Okay, sure. Those paying attention know that Republicans were only partly to blame for seeking this session. It's the most important bills. This time, the Democrats delivered the delays. I mean, Democratic Party isn't a monolith, and we have a two-party system, so that's bound to happen. It's not awesome, and I don't love it, but that's how certain makeup and seats and power has fallen. Okay. Among the heaviest losses. Is this open to were efforts towards encouraging affordable housing, rental protections, and gun safety. There was also a subversive loss for climate change in the form of unreasonable omission. These losses will not be equally felt by all Coloradans. Those in political serfdoms often speak of progressive or liberal policy as merely representing one end of the political spectrum. This suggests there's no specific people attached to the ideas, but that's not exactly true. Surveys constantly show that progressive policy is most heavily backed by voters in younger generations, specifically by millennials like me, and Gen Z is close on our heel. Let's see, Gen Z looks a lot like millennials on key social and political issues. Among Republicans, Gen Z stands out in views on race, climate, and the role of government. Government should do more to solve problems. Okay. Increasing racial/ethnic diversity is good for society. Okay. So she's stating facts. I mean, she comes from a science background. That's awesome. She was debated in the Colorado legislature that you should know about. And we can add this maybe in our. I want to go through this because I'm curious what's here, but we'll leave that for another time. But I love that she is citing her info, at least on some of these. Okay, liberal values are more closely aligned with members of marginalized groups, which makes sense given Millennial and Gen Z are the most diverse generations in history. Come with the very nature of the word progressive. It shouldn't come as a surprise that such values more generally reflect the needs of the next generations. In this light, and given that millennials are now the largest demographic in America, a rebuttal of progressive ideology is not so much a rejection of one part of the political spectrum, so much as a covert dismissal of younger, more diverse generations. Put more bluntly, Colorado Democrats didn't simply reject progressive ideology, they outright ignored millennials and Gen Z, the largest growing demographics of their constituency. I think this is the biggest uphill battle of this decade. Old power structures don't even know how to interact or bring younger people into the fold. And so we're left with them not considering us as important or in the power structure. And we gotta figure out how to claim that space, be at the table, and not only be at the table, but leading the discussions a good portion of the time. And moving in that direction. So, I agree. It sucks, but I feel like most politicians, the circle of influence isn't actually that large. Which mostly negative, I think, because they're leaning on a tight-knit group of lobbyists, personal connections, past biases or inputs, and then some of their trusted members around them, and don't know how to, and a lot of times younger people isn't a large block in that. I think the only positive kind of light there is when you know that, it's easier to think through how you kind of create power and influence and push into these people's circles to be that voice, which I guess is a sense one of the things we're trying to do here with community driven and inspiring groups of leaders to come together, is we can kind of build that block and become part of that in their circles. Looking back at the topics cut this session, the generational angle tracks. While affordable housing, gun safety, rental protections, and climate change can impact anyone of any age, these issues far more heavily impact younger generations. by and large, we're the ones struggling to break into housing markets and paying too much in rent. We are the ones who first survived school shootings and are now subjecting our kids to them at record breaking pace. We are the ones who will still be alive when climate change, water supply, and well being, not boomers, not even really Gen X. On the one hand, it's normal for every generation to face unique challenges, and these are just some of ours. What's not normal is for neither political party to seem particularly interested in courting us. Um, Worse, the generations above us in both parties seem intent on keeping a near literal death grip on control of our nation's policy, a move that isn't good for anyone in the long run, not that they'll be around to see it. I 100% agree. You see this especially at the national level, but at the state levels as well. Actually, you see this at all levels, really. Um, yeah. Going back in history, I wonder if this has been. I mean, it's been easier to do the past few decades with the consolidation and power grip of media since TVA killed the radio star. Um, I don't know if that. I just wanted to include that lyric. But I mean, wealth has actually done a lot of consolidation since the 1980s too, which makes it easier to for them to back their players. So, huh. And so I think both parties are courting wealth. And wealth has actually reversed courted who they want in specific seats with a pretty good win rate. Okay. Millennials Gen Z are past ready for serious change, and we need state leaders who are ready to make it happen. We need swifter action on climate change and gun safety, not out of petty interest, out of survival. We need swifter action on climate change and gun safety. Yep. We need affordable housing and upward economic mobility, not out of greed, out of the ability to retire. And yes, as the most diverse generations ever, we need more meaningful actions on social justice and equity so we can all thrive together. Perhaps so far it's easy for Democrats to take our votes for granted. Republicans jumped the shark. Where else would we go? But an anti-Trump agenda won't work forever. Although party swapping is less common, especially later in life, there's an exception: disenfranchised voters. Even though swapping to the Republican Party is not an option, we all know what can happen when voters stop turning out. Increasingly, I hear voters my age turning away from both parties. Yeah, I mean, I shy away from party stuff sometimes, or I like put caveats because I know people have like angst with both parties. Both parties are not good at really breaking down what they're gonna do for the everyday person and really laying out that vision and standing next to it. Um, what do we do? Organize stronger communities that are more issue based, and I think is what a lot of people have moved to. There's like people within the political party system, of course, and I'm sometimes wearing that hat as well. But I feel like a lot of people have moved to issue area groups. Like there's Mother's Demand, there's 350 Colorado, there's Sierra Club. Some spaces have multiple orgs. And yeah, outside of a huge like paradigm shift of another party like just blossoming and then taking off really quickly, which is probably like not very likely, but within the realm of possibilities. The other thing is you change a party from the inside, and I don't think it's a big Republican one. Maybe there's young people willing in that party willing to try to change it from the inside, but I'm not holding my breath there, and that's why I organize with Democrats um, and I think that's like we gotta grow the power, and I see a lot of signs of like other people with the energy to do so. That does give me hope. Um, we're gonna save this one for another day. But yeah, thank you, Trish, for writing this piece. I'll look potentially at some of the other pieces you've written or you write down the line to cover as well. Um, uh, yeah. So, yeah, you've been writing a lot. That's awesome. Um, cool. All right, what do I have for next on my agenda? Um, I'm gonna read this another time too, because I'm sure there's lots of conclusions in there. I think we can turn the music back on. I'm just gonna um, reflect. We're gonna look at my. We're just gonna showcase some of the things I've been making lately, and then we're gonna call it a night. Um, so content creation. Not only am I working to get more into streams where we can have a back and forth, um, where I can have chat across different platforms come together and hold discussions, not only with you in chat, but through bringing people into video calls, showing content of my own creation, sometimes interviews, sometimes written content or art. Um, share what I or other groups and communities working on positive impact are up to. Um, but then we can also cut it up later and create um, things we can share on different platforms and media. So um, I'm working to get my website in a better place. My biggest thing right now, I love this page, my communities index, and my goal is to add 2 communities to this page a week. By clicking on a page, you can learn more about a group, see their website, and my aim is to get pages with community calendars in them so that you and people in the area can go through and find events and updates and um, find these different positive impact groups in their socials and link trees. Um, I want to work on my media database page more. And as these both pages grow, I know I'm going to have to probably have some type of navigation bar that helps bring groups together in tags. As all databases grow, you need a way to effectively look through that data. And then I also need to work on my news blog, which I imagine as more of a community blog. I have old posts on here right now, um, but I have a whole spectrum, including some of my favorite pieces about how uh, Elon Musk, with the money he bought Twitter for, could have saved world hunger. And like, I break it all down. I go to this page. I before he even threw out like buying Twitter, that when that one weird guy was like, "Hey Elon, if you give me $6 billion, this hunger nonprofit can keep working." And then I was like, with $6 billion, could you create not just the band-aid but the cure? And what I came up with is, if you invested it properly into infrastructure and regenerative farming centers around the world, and building these centers and putting jobs and housing and this infrastructure to work. And I say 110 bundles of 50 million. So 110 regenerative farms, the 5.5 billion lion's share, that over 10 years, and I do a bunch of math and whatnot, you could solve world hunger. But instead, he bought Twitter. I imagine, though, that was a tangent, ADHD tangent. I imagine this more as a community blog, and I want to bring others into this space and organize this page better. I gotta update, yeah. So my website needs some love. And in the meantime, it's awesome to have this cool website, and it does look good. I think it looks good. It's got the foundation, and we can work on that while we get the content creation going, which will allow us to reach and broadcast out to a wider audience, and those all make some type of triangle with a financial foundation, and then bringing in sponsors and other partnerships. And this is actually it's a GoFundMe page, but I have it structured where you get a percentage of any future dividends and sell of community driven. I know I need to do a business model one of these streams, because I haven't done one of those yet, but I've put a lot of thought into the back end. But we're doing a small friends and family investment round right now, going up to $20,000, and this will be one of my bigger pushes for the next few months, as it allows me to get a strong footing in what kind of collaborations and other kind of full-time content creation work I can do, part-time to full-time content creation work I can do. But that's not all I'm up to, and this is the community-driven channel where we are live right now. Live at Beto Bingo, where you can find us. I have all the social links on there, of course. But another thing I've been working on lately is a podcast with my friend Sam that's called the Mancast, which stands for Managing Health, Authenticity, Nuance, and Connections. We kind of slid that extra C in there. But it's a video cast. We're up to technically 2 episodes, but that's because we have a bonus 1.5 episode in there. So we got like 3 episodes. The first one we broke down into 11 different pieces. We also have shorts, and yeah, friends starting a podcast to explore and share about health, confidence, connection, and more. It's an acronym, and we're working to fight med and societal stigma. Hello, my name's Braden.
My name's Sam.
And we are Mancast, which stands for
Managing
Health,
Authenticity,
Nuance, and
Connections.
Things to expect on our channel is longer conversations and clips around important topics. Things like
mental health, men's mental health, overall well-being.
Well-being, how you're doing inside, outside.
Staying motivated for a lot of things. Because I know that's a big thing for a lot of people is they just lose motivation.
Since we recorded that one, we've actually
In
improved.
all of high school,
our audio
my
and video?
breakfast was either a soda, a Monster energy drink, or some kind of energy drink.
This is us talking about
overly
nutrition in high
processed
school.
breakfast sandwich, just full of.
So this is another
much bad
project
shit. I got
I'm
pulled
kind of
out
putting a lot out there and
school
seeing
because
what
I
sticks.
keeled over in pain. Everyone's thought
And
I had
interested
like
to see. I
appendicitis.
mean, if
My-
I'm gonna
my
learn
appendix blew up.
videography,
No, I
content
had
creation,
a buildup of crap.
and I'm ADHD, so I'm gonna
just
want to do it with
byproduct
a
of
bunch
all
of
this
different things I'm
sodium
passionate about.
and trans fats and all this.
And one of
other
those
shit
things is
from
health,
these
men's
things I
mental
was
health,
eating, and it just stored
and
in my gallbladder.
trying
My
to
gallbladder
get
was
positive
screaming help.
conversations out
That's
there around
ungulfully-
so many different
Okay,
topics.
ungulfully bad.
Oh, your puns.
They're golfully good.
You have some good ones, but then there are some ones that just hurt. In all.
So I wanted to share that along with my community driven page, cause I'm back at. We recorded a number of episodes through. I want to say we recorded in April, mid-April, and then we recorded this episode in March. So I'm just catching up to our recording side. And there's some fun clips, so check out the main cast. And that's another place to catch me talking about a lot of this positive impact stuff, just this in that space with one of my best friends, and more specifically on health and connection, whereas community driven is a wider range with maybe even an emphasis on climate and environmental justice. But it's all connected, really. I don't think I have anything else. Thank you to people who watched on the different channels to which we're streaming. We are potentially going to add even more, but right now we're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok. Content coming weekly, so subscribe. Check us out for a while. And if you're watching later, thanks for watching. See you out there. Good evening. I hope you have a fantastic week. Toodaloos. Toodaloos. Well, we should do a song. Let's play the end of that song. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. This was the community-driven stream. We played, we sang, we danced a little bit. We talked about the news. We hung out with each other. We talked about our vision for the future. Yay, yay. See you out there. Some of this music goes hard. This is just royalty-free musics, no copyright music, dance and EDM. I'm on the dance and EDM section on SoundCloud. Okay, that is all. Where do I